let us discuss one of the important type of injury, that is ischemic reperfusion injury. Ischemic reperfusion injury. Before discussing about this ischemic reperfusion injury, what is ischemia? Ischemia is decrease of blood supply to the blood vessels. It may be either arteries or veins or capillaries. Now, ischemia. What is ischemia means? Decrease of blood supply. That is either arteries or veins or capillaries. Decrease of blood supply is called ischemia. Now, why does this ischemia occurs? Because of accumulation of fat material. Or lipid materials. Accumulation of lipids will result in ischemia. Let us consider this is one blood vessel. This is one blood vessel in which the blood is supplying in this one. And if there is any accumulation of lipid material like plaques, let us consider this is fatty material which is accumulated in the walls of arteries, veins or capillaries. Now, then the amount of the blood which is flowing from this direction or coming to these capillaries or leaving these capillaries will get decreased. That condition is called ischemia because of accumulation of fatty substances in the arteries, veins or capillaries is called ischemia. Now, if there is any ischemic condition in any type of blood vessel, now as you know that the function of blood is to carry the oxygen. It will carry the oxygen to the tissues. So, in normal conditions, the function of blood is to supply the oxygen for the tissues. But in case of ischemic condition, because of accumulation of any fatty materials like lipids or plaques, then the supply of blood will get decreased to the tissues and ultimately there will be decrease of oxygen supply to the tissues. Now, if there is supply of oxygen to the tissues is get decreased, then it will result in inhibition of oxidative phosphorylation. It will inhibit the oxidative phosphorylation. It will inhibit the oxidative phosphorylation. It will get inhibited. Why the oxidative phosphorylation is inhibited? Because as we know that in electron transport chain, there are totally 5 complexes. In which the first complex is called NAD cytochrome oxidoreductase. NAD or coenzyme Q oxidoreductase. Now from here 4 H plus ions will get liberated into the lumen, and second complex is succinate dehydrogenase. From here, the amount of energy or the energetics which is produced from this succinate will be lesser when compared to the NADPH, so it releases only 2 H plus ions. And next, third complex is coenzyme Q cytochrome C oxidoreductase. From here, the energy which is produced from complex 3 is equivalent to that of complex 1, that is 12 kilocalories. Then it will release 4 H plus ions. And from complex 4, it is cytochrome oxidase. It will release 2 H plus ions. Now, this is normal condition in case of electron transport chain, but in case of ischemic condition, the H plus ions will get H plus ions will be liberated into the lumen, so into the outer membrane space. Now, these H plus ions will be accepted by the oxygen molecules. Let us consider in complex number 4, 2 H plus ions will get accepted by half mole of O2, which results in formation of H2. This is the final product of electron transport chain, that is in fourth complex water will be formed. Now, in case of ischemia, the ATP which is produced in normal condition, the ATP which is produced will be entering into the fifth complex, that is ATP synthase. And if there is any ischemic condition in any blood vessel, now there is no functioning of ATP synthase. ATP synthase enzyme will get inhibited. ATP synthase enzyme will get inhibited. As a result, the ATP synthesis will get decreased. So because of ATP synthesis will get decreased, it results in 3 conditions. First one, the first condition which is arised because of ATP synthase inhibition, the ATP synthesis will get decreased. Ultimately, it will undergo anaerobic respiration. That is anaerobic glycolysis. It undergoes anaerobic glycolysis and it produces only 2 ATP molecules. It produces only 2 ATP molecules, whereas in anaerobic respiration it produces 36, but here it produces only 2 ATP molecules. Now, this is first condition which results in ATP decrease, and the second condition is, as we know that our cell let us consider this is a cell, and this cell consists of special types of pumps, like this is one type of pump and this is another type of pump. These are Na plus and K plus pumps, and these are calcium pumps. Now, in normal condition, there should be outflux of sodium ions, efflux of sodium ions, that is 3 sodium ions has to move outside, and 2 potassium ions should move inner side. This is a normal phenomenon which takes place in normal cell, that is in this inside the cell the sodium concentration is more when compared to the outside solution, that is, and from high concentration to low concentration sodium ions will be moved to the outside, that is 3 sodium ions will be moved and 2 potassium ions will be entered inner side. And in case of ATP synthase there will be blockage of these sodium ions. Sodium ions will get blocked. Then ultimately the sodium concentration in the cell will get increased. That is sodium concentration. Sodium concentration will be increased inside the cell. When there is sodium concentration is increased in the cell, the protein kinase enzyme will get activated. Or whenever the sodium ions concentration will be more, then the calcium ions will be concentration of calcium ions will also get increased in the cell. When calcium ion concentration will be increased in the inner side of cell, then protein kinase enzyme will get activated and it results in denature of proteins. Denaturation of proteins. It results in denature of proteins. This is second condition. And in case of what is third condition means, as we know that at the inside of cell it consists of rough endoplasmic reticulum. Let us consider this one, rough endoplasmic reticulum. On surface of rough endoplasmic reticulum it consists of ribosomes. These reticular substances are the ribosomes. Whenever the ATP synthesis production will be decreased, now the ribosomes which are attached to the surface of endoplasmic reticulum will get detached. Detachment of ribosomes. Detachment of ribosomes. Whenever the ribosomes will get detached from the endoplasmic reticulum, now the function of these ribosomes is it results in formation of proteins, that is protein synthesis. Ultimately protein synthesis will get decreased. If there is no proteins, then ultimately will result in cell injury. These are the conditions which results in cell injuries. And what is ischemic reperfusion theory or ischemic reperfusion injury? If any cell which is ischemic in condition, and if we increase the blood supply to this, let us consider this is ischemic cell. If ischemic cell is supplied more oxygen, is supplied, then if it undergoes normal condition, if it converts into normal cell, then it is also called reversible cell injury. Now this is normal case, but if any cell which is ischemic in condition, in which the blood supply will be now if there is any ischemia, let us consider what are the cases of ischemia. Causes of ischemia means first one hypoxia, and second one hypoxemia, and third one oxygen binding capacity will be decreased. Now if there is ischemic cell, it results in hypoxemia. How hypoxemia means decrease in oxygen supply to the tissues is called hypoxia. Now, if it results in hypoxia, now let us consider a hypoxic condition arises in a tissue. Now, if more oxygen is supplied, then if it undergoes injury, more injury will get increased more, then that condition is called ischemic reperfusion theory. In case of hypoxic cell, that is, if already the oxygen content in these tissues will get decreased, then in oxygen deficiency tissues, if we supply more oxygen, then if there is any damage to the extra number of cells which are present around this hypoxic cell will get injured, then it results in ischemic reperfusion theory. Now, ischemic reperfusion injury, what are the mechanisms which results in ischemic reperfusion injury means there are many mechanisms which are causing this ischemic reperfusion theory. First condition is, let us consider mechanisms. There are 4 mechanisms. Different types of mechanisms which results in ischemic reperfusion theory. There are totally 4 mechanisms which results in ischemic reperfusion theory. The first mechanism is new damage mechanism or new cell damage. New cell damage mechanism. This is first mechanism, that is called new cell damage mechanism. Let us consider, this is the condition which happens here. Let us consider a injured cell. This is the injured cell or hypoxic cell. It supplies oxygen. Now, this is damaged cell and these are healthy cells which are surrounding healthy cells. Now, the cells which are present around the injured cell, in which if the more oxygen is supplied to this injured cell, then the surrounding cells will get also be injured. This is injured cell and these are surrounding cells, they will also get injured. They will also get injured. This is the first condition which results in ischemic reperfusion injury, that is, whenever the injured cell is supplied more oxygen, then it will injure the surrounding cells also. That is new cell damage mechanism. This is first mechanism. And let us consider the second mechanism. Increase in membrane permeability. increase in membrane permeability. Now let us consider any tissues consist of cells, and if the tissue is undergone any injury, it consists of cells, and the cells consist of cell organelles. Let us consider this is a mitochondria. And this is inner membrane. Now if this is injured cell mitochondria, now if we supply more oxygen, then there will be formation of perforins on the membrane. That is, here there will be formation of perforins. These reticular structures are the pores which are present on or which are resulted because of more oxygen supply. Then there will be flow of mitochondrial substance towards the outside. That is cytochromes. Let us consider these are cytochromes which are affected cytochromes and will be entered at the cytoplasm and will result in injury of the cell, that is ischemic, and this is one condition which results in ischemic reperfusion theory. And next condition is inflammations. Next condition which results in ischemic reperfusion theory is inflammations. In case of inflammations, there is a term called exudations. Exudation is nothing but the flow of proteinaceous fluid from the blood from vascular compartment to the non-vascular compartment, that is extracellular place. From vascular compartment to the extracellular space is called exudation. This occurs because of formation of interendothelial permeability spaces, that is intercellular or interendothelial space, formation of interendothelial space in the endothelial cells of blood vessels. Let us consider this is one blood vessel and these are the endocytes, endothelial cells, and we will get this in detail study of inflammations in next year, that is inflammations, and that is formation of interendothelial space. There are some prostaglandins which are released like leukotrienes and prostaglandins and interferons, interleukins. These are the examples of chemical mediators. Now it results in formation of permeability space between the endothelial cells. Hence, there will be more space between the endothelial cells. Ultimately, the fluid will be lost from this place into the extracellular space. Now, from here, whenever the fluid which is released from these blood vessels into the extracellular space, then it results in tissue damage or cell damage. This is one condition which results in ischemic reperfusion theory. This is third one, inflammation, and these are some mechanisms which results in ischemic reperfusion injury, that is new cell damage and increase in membrane permeability, and next one is inflammations. This is about ischemic reperfusion injury.